All right, Shalom. It's the brother Malak coming back at you with this truth. First and foremost, I want to start off by saying Brakateh Yahweh, Brakateh Yahweh Shai, Brakateh Yahweh, Brakateh Yahweh Shai, Brakateh Yahweh, Brakateh Yahweh Shai, Call Haloyam, Nabanawa Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim, Arakal Kodash, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who well, peace and blessings and citation to the hopeful elect, the Bayath, Dawadah, the house of David. All right, so let's just go right into this article here. This is in ABA, all right, American Bar, right? And as you can see, when you go up to here, ABA Group, Civil Rights and Social Justice Publications, Human Rights Magazine, Volume 44, number 1, and it says black there, but we're just going to put there Israelites, Hebrews, all right, to the future in American and in America, Salakia, still in the shadow of its shameful past. What is its shameful past? Slavery. Okay? See, America think they try to sweep these things up under the rug. See, Esau want to try to sweep these things up under the rug and call Jake and try to say they brought Jakes over here as indigenous servants. How they used our brothers, all right, who are already over here in the northern tribes as indigenous servants, sending them over to Spain and putting them on sugarcane fields and sending them to many different places and things like that, okay? And enslaving them and killing them and stomping on the babies' heads and doing all this, doing all these atrocities, man. So this was written on May 16th, 2019, Human Rights. It says a history of tolerance for violence has laid the groundwork for the injustice today. All right, by Jennifer Ray Tyler. Okay, and as you can see, you see Jake's right here in chains. So if this is not a perfect structure of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, then what is, man? Okay, you can see the yoke of iron. Look at the yokes of iron upon the necks and the chains and things that upon these depictions right here of this is what it was. Okay, this is what it was, man. All right, this was America's pastime right here in the shadows right here, man. Okay, see, in the shadow of its shameful pastime. That's what it said. You see, it says a statue depicting chained people on display at the National Memorial for Peace and Justice in Montgomery, Alabama. All right, it says we are living in America's era of mass incarceration. But who's the mass incarceration to? You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. That's who the mass incarceration is to. That's what is happening to you, man. Okay? These are the things that are happening to you Jakes, man, to you Israelites, to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. Why? Because you have there's a perpetual hatred against you, man. By who? Esau, Edom. Okay? Esau, Edom. All right? It says with just 5% of the world's population, this nation holds 25% of the world's prisoners and many more people impacted by its crime policies. More than two. But the real criminals is who? The real criminals is these damn devils. That's who the real criminals is. What they do is they set up, they try to set the crime up, right? So they can pull your ass in, so you can commit the crime, right? So they can get you on a stipulation. When behind the scenes they really committing huge injustice crimes, but they don't get a penalty for it, right? You see what I'm saying? They create the masses of crimes, and then they try to pull you into it. All right? When they really the ones who are committing crimes. All right? They're really the ones who are the unrighteous. When you are the righteous, man. See, that's why you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you got to get your damn head out your ass, man. You got to get your head out your ass, man, and understand who your enemies is, man. And your enemies stand before you every single day. Okay? They stand before you every single day, man. And you fail to realize that, man. All right? You fail to realize what us brothers is out there teaching you on them highways and byways, man. Wake up. Open your eyes. See what's going on. But you know what? The Most High got you in a deep sleep. Okay? The Most High got you in a deep sleep. The Heavenly Father and His Son, Yahweh Shai, got you in a deep sleep. And you can't see the things that we see. Okay? All right, it says more than 2.1 million Americans are incarcerated in jails and prisons, up from less than 200,000, all right, 200,000 in 1972, while over 4.6 million more are on probation or parole. These numbers are not faceless. African Americans, now we know that Israelites make up about 13% of the nation's population. Okay, now hold on. Now these are just numbers that are thrown out there. So we're just gonna read off the numbers, but we know that we are the majority. Israel is the majority. Israel is the majority. We're not no damn minority. All right. We are as the sand of the sea. Okay, that includes so-called Latinos and so-called Native Americans as well. Okay, so let's read on. It says 13% of the nation's population, but constitute 28% of all of rest. And why is that? That's that perpetual hatred that Esau have against you, man. Hold on. Let's go there. Hold on. Okay, let me get description. Let's get description. Okay, because it only makes sense. This is that perpetual hatred that Esau got against you, man. All right? This is that perpetual hatred that Esau has against you. All right, let's go to the scripture. Yep. Let's go to it right now. All right, Ezekiel 25. Ezekiel 25, and let's start at verse 12. All right, verse 12, it says, Thus saith the Lord power, because that Edom have dealt against the house of Judah by taking vengeance, and had greatly offended and revenged himself upon them. It says, Therefore, thus saith the Lord power, I will also stretch out my hand upon Edom, and I will cut off man and beast from beast. Hold on. That's not what I wanted. I didn't want that one. I didn't want that one. I want 35. Salakia. Give me 35. Give me Ezekiel 35. Salakia. Yeah, that's not the one I want. Give me 35. All right, here it is right here. This is Ezekiel 35 in verse number 5. It says, Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, and in the time of their calamity and in the time of their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Seest thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. All right, you see, there you go. So Esau has had a perpetual hatred against you, man. And what is a perpetual hatred? A perpetual hatred means an ongoing hatred, going back from the womb of Esau and Jacob, man. Okay, and how can we explain that? Let's go into the book of Genesis. Let's go into Genesis. Lock it. Give me 1 second. Let's go into Genesis. Let's go into Genesis. Genesis 29. Genesis 20. Actually, Genesis 27. Salakia. Genesis 27. Genesis 27. It says, let's go down here. Let's see here what we got here. I'm trying to find it. Here it is right here. Yep, Genesis 27. Genesis 27, and I'll start at verse 41. All right. It says, and Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. See, there you go. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. There's that perpetual hatred. You see, as I read in Ezekiel, the 35th chapter. Okay? You see what I'm saying? So there's that perpetual ongoing hatred and them fighting going back into the womb between Esau and Jacob. Right? See, Esau, this thing is all about the birthright. Okay? That's what this thing all stems back to between Esau and Jacob. It's all about the birthright, man. Right? Ultimately, the Most High put us in slavery for breaking the law, statutes, and commandments, as he told Moses that he would do if we went against the law, statutes, and commandments, that we will be put underneath our enemies. Okay? And we have been in every captivity. This captivity right here under Esau, Edom, is our last captivity. And this by far is our worst captivity, because this is underneath our brother, our so-called brother at the time, our brother, all right? And he has had a perpetual hatred against us. This goes all the way back to the beginning, Genesis. Okay? Which this hatred for Esau against Jacob never left. Right? Because when you go deep into reincarnation, which we're not even going to step into there, that's another topic. All right? We're just going to keep it right where it is, man. Let's continue on, because that's another topic. Okay? Let's go back to the article. All right? Let's go back to the article. I just showed you why this exists right here. It says African Americans, I'm gonna read it out all verbatim. African Americans make up about 13% of the nation's population, but constitute 28% of all arrests, 40% of the incarcerated, and 42% of those on death row. African Americans, Latinos, right? Latinos and Native Americans are all more likely to be arrested. Why is that? Because we're all from the same nation. We're all Israelites. Okay? And we're in this captivity together. Let's go to that scripture. Let's go to that scripture in the book of I think it's either Jeremiah or Isaiah, if I'm not mistaken. It's Jeremiah. Okay? Jeremiah. Let's go to it. Let's go to that in the book of Jeremiah, the 50th chapter, and about the 33rd verse. Right? It says, thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and they took them captives and held them fast, and they refused to let them go. Right? They took them captives and held them fast, and they refused to let them go. You see? So we in this captivity together, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, regardless whether you believe that you're an Israelite or not, you are an Israelite, and guess what? You're in this captivity with us because we all brothers. All right, and we all have one common enemy, which is Esau, Edom, and the other nations that are with Esau to go against us. Psalms the 83rd chapter. Okay. And we'll get into that chapter. Matter of fact, let's get into that chapter real quick. Let's get into that chapter. Let's see who our enemies is, man. And you see, when you do videos like, you got to bring out scriptures. When you do videos like this, man. Okay, let's start at the top. Psalm 83:1. It says, a song of Psalm of Asaph. It says, keep not thy silent, O power. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O power. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up their head, right? They have become proud. All these other nations, especially Esau, Edom. Okay? It says, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones, right? And we are the hidden ones. We are called bywords and proverbs upon this earth. Okay? They're not telling you who the real, true Hebrew Israelites are. Okay? They perpetrate themselves, them other guys overseas, those fake Jews overseas call themselves Israelis, but they're really not the people of that land. Okay? They're really what you call Amalekites. Okay? It says, they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation It says that the name of Israel may be no more remembrance. Right? They stripped that name away from us. They stripped that away from us during the time of slavery. All right? They took that away from us. Okay? Just like as you seen in that movie, where they said they was hitting. He said he called himself Kunta Kinte, but they beat it out of him and said, "Nah, you Toby now, man." Okay? You see Goodbye Uncle Tom and all of these other movies like that. Who was that who was that against? That was against Jake. All right? And then you got a lot of things against the so-called Native Americans and Latinos. Things that you can go and find about that history and about that information, which they're all Israelites. And they suffered the same things that we suffered. We were just brought over here way after the fact. Okay? It says, for they have consulted together with one consent. Right? They was in one mind. They were in one mind to take down these one people, to take down this one nation. They are confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom. They start naming off your enemies right here. And the Ishmaelites, right? Of Moab, the Hagareans, Gabal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines, with the inhabitants of Tyre. Ashar also joined with them, and they have hope in the children of Lot, Salah. Do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to the Sisari, as to Jabin, as to the book of Kasan, which perished at Endor, and they become as the dung of the earth. You see? So they named off your enemies right here in verse number 6, 7, and 8. Okay? You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Listen up and listen up good. All right? Let's go back into the article. It says jailed, awaiting trial, and sentenced to jail and prison when compared to white Americans, right? Which Edomites, because you're not white Americans. White means pure and innocent, and you're not pure or innocent. You're nothing but thieves. You devils are nothing but thieves, man, and robbers and murderers and pillagers, man. Okay? It says perhaps the starkest statistic. Recent data predicted 1 of every 3 black boys and 1 of 6 Latino boys born in 2001 would go to jail. Right? They already got this set up against you, man. They said you most likely to go to jail, man. They already have your future going. They already have your future set up for you. Is to go to jail. Now this is it right here, man. Let's go to this scripture right here, man. Okay? Let's go to this scripture right here, man. Where is it? Let's jump down to it. Let's just jump right down to it. This is Psalms 10. And let's go right here. Verse 8. It says, he sitteth in the lurking places of the village, and in secret places he doeth murder the innocent. His eyes are privately set against the poor. Right? He lieth in wait secretly as a lion in his den, and he lieth in wait to catch the poor. He doeth catch the poor when he draweth them into his net. Right, and that's to set up all these traps. That's how Esau set up all these traps for you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Put the guns and the drugs and all of that things in your neighborhood. Set you up. Okay? They set you up, man. All right, and then they put those crooked damn cops out there to set your ass up and come and get you and throw you in jail for the rest of your life, man. All right? See, this is the perpetual hatred that Esau has against you, man. See, they real slick and real sly. They'll be laying off into the corner, right? This is how these cops do it. They lay off in the secret places and they watch you. That's like the FBI. Same thing with the FBI. It's all set up to take down Jake. It's all set up to go against Jake. It's set up to go against you so-called, you Israelites, man. Okay? It says, and draweth them into his net. He croucheth and he humble himself that the poor may fall by his strong ones. Right? Come with those smooth words. Right? Just like they got that nigga Ricky Ross, the real Rick Ross. Right? How they set him up with an FBI agent, put the drugs into his hand, let him sell and kill his people off, right? But then came back and threw his ass in jail. You see? That's how these devils work. All right? That's that perpetual hatred against you, man. And then this is what he says right here, verse 11. This is the kicker. He said, he hath said in his heart, the Most High hath forgotten, and he hath hid his face, and he will never see it. These devils are something else, man. These devils are something else, man. All right? It says, arise, O Lord, O power, and lift up thy hand, forget not the humble. Right? It says, wherefore doeth the wicked contain the Most High? He hath said in his heart, thou wilt not require it. See, thou wilt not require it. You see? It says, thou hast seen it, for thou beholdest mischief and spite to requite it with thy hand. The poor committeth himself unto thee, and thou art the helper of the fatherless. All right? Break the arm of the wicked and the evil man, and seek out his wickedness until thou find none. There you go. You see? Okay? So this is what goes down with you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. What I just read to you, man. All right? It says, will go to jail or prison within their lifetimes if current trends continue. Damn devils, man. All right? Damn devils. Okay, it says, in some ways, these statistics outline a contemporary problem, but the challenges that they describe are legacies legacies of the system much older and deeper. The same judgments about criminality, race, and control the lead of Mississippi official in 1865 to remark, all right, emancipation, right? It says will require a system of prisons. It says still color our political discourse and policy outcomes. It says in a widespread yet largely unknown story of racial terror, lynching continues to shape our lives. All right. All right, here it is right here. It says the National Memorial Peace and Justice in Montgomery, Alabama, dedicated to thousands of people killed in racist lynchings. All right, it says the experiences of African Americans murdered and terrorized by the mob violences of generations between the emancipation and the struggle of the civil rights, alongside the ritual in action of local and federal law enforcement and lawmakers. And that's what goes down today, right? And all the judgments come from the Most High. Every judgment comes from the Most High. All right? If they're wicked Israelites, you got to get the judgment. All right? It says, lay the groundwork for the inequality and the injustice we face today, understanding the current systems and roots in racism and dehumanization. All right, and what is dehumanization? Matter of fact, let me see if I can get that dehumanization. Let's go to that real quick. Matter of fact, let's go to that. Dehumanization. Let's go. Let's go here. All right, dehumanization. It says the process of depriving a person or a group of positive human qualities. Okay, and that's all it really gives you right there. Dehumanization. All right, or the act thereof can describe as a denial or full humanness to others, and the cruelty and the suffering that accompany it. A practical definition refers to it as the viewing and treatment of other persons as the lack of mental captives that we enjoy as human beings. You see? Okay? So there you have it. All right? There it is. Let's go back down here. Okay? All right, it says racism and dehumanization is critical to interacting, all right, the problem, all right, attracting the problem and growing something better. Now, the reason why you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans went into the captivity that you're in today is because of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. Matter of fact, let's go to it. Let's go to Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. The Lord explained it. Okay, let's go into the scriptures. You always revert back to the scriptures. Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. And let's just start at the blessings. Well, actually, let's start at the curses. Let's just go right to it. This is Deuteronomy 28:15. It says, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy power, to observe to do all his statutes, and observe to do his commandments and statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Cursed shall thy be in the city, and cursed shall thy be in the field. Cursed shall thy be thy basket and thy store. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy land, and an increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep. Cursed shall thy be when thou comest in, and cursed shall thy be when thou goest out. The Lord shall send upon thee cursing, vexation, and rebuke, and all thy sittings, and all thy thine hand until for to do. All right, thou sittest thy hand unto for to do, until thou be destroyed, and until thou perish quickly, because of the wickedness of thy doings, whereby thou hast forsaken me. All right, it says the Lord shall make the pestilence cleave unto thee until he have consumed thee from off the land whether thou goest to possess it. All right, it says the Lord shall smite thee with the consumption, and with the fever, and with an inflammation, and with an extreme burning, and with the sword, and the blasting, and with mildew, and they shall pursue thee until thou perish. And thy heaven, it says, and thy heaven that is over thy head shall be brass, and the earth that is under thy feet shall be iron. Shackles, man. Okay? It says, the Lord shall make the rain of the land powder and dust from the heavens shall it come down upon thee until thou be destroyed. The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thy enemies, and thou shalt go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed unto all the kingdoms of the earth. All right. Okay. See, down when you read all the way down, this is all of it right here. Going back into slavery, times of slavery, man. This is all right here. Okay, this is all right here, man. Okay, this is all right here. Okay, this is all right here. When you read all of these, when you read this whole chapter, man. Okay, this whole chapter. So you understand. We went over this chapter numerous times, just so you understand what this article is truly about. So let's just go back into it, because, if I read that, that's if I read the whole thing, you brothers can go to Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, but I'm trying to move fast in this video. All right, because I got other scriptures I want to get to. Okay, it says, in the 17th and 18th centuries, 12 million African people were kidnapped, chained, and brought to the Americas after a torturous journey across the Atlantic Ocean. All right, the transatlantic slave trade. It says in the United States, the labor of enslaved black people fueled economic growth, while the ideology of white supremacy and racial difference was created to justify slavery and morale acceptable. In the 19th century, thriving plantation economic and feasible taking the land from the native people. See, there you go. Esau come nothing but to steal and kill, man. John 10 and 10. Hey, man, let's get that. John 10 and 10. Doesn't that remind you of that? Let's go to it. John 10 and 10. It says, the thief cometh not but for to steal and to kill and to destroy. I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly. See, that they might have it more abundantly. Now, what I was reading up before, let's go into Exodus, the 21st chapter. See, I'm moving fast now, brothers. Let's go into Exodus, the 21st chapter. Okay. Exodus 21. All right, Exodus. Where is it? All right, here it is right here. Exodus 21 and 17. It says, and he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death. Right? He shall surely be put to death. And we're still found in this man's hand. And he's going to be surely put to death, man. See what I'm saying? He's going to get the recompense. That's what this man's going to get the recompense for all of these things, all these atrocities that he committed. He's going to get this right here. Exodus 21 and 24. It says, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, hand for a hand, foot for foot, burning for burning, wound for wound, and stripe for stripe. This man's going to get all of those, all that recompense back unto him, what he had done to our people, throwing us over slave ships. All right, drowning to lessen the boat, and drowning our people under the water with chains under them, so they can just go down there and drown and be fed to the sharks, man. Fed to the sharks so they can feast on they bodies, on their flesh, man. You devils gonna get your backs whipped. You devils gonna get your backs whipped. All right, for all them atrocities that you committed, man. Okay, for the lynchings, for the stripes upon the backs. All those things that you have done, you're gonna get it, man. You're gonna get a foot up your ass sideways, man. Okay? You see? Let's just go back into these scriptures, man. Let's go back into this article, actually, Salakia. All right. It says native people increased in demand for enslaved labor, and through the domestic slave trade, the South's enslaved population rose dramatically. It says after the South's defeat in the bloody Civil War, the nations adopted the 13th Amendment. That 13th Amendment is all BS. It's all madness. All right? This is the 13th Amendment to abolish slavery except a punishment for crime. So you're still a damn slave. You go to jail, you're still a slave. All right? It says while leaving intact a bitter resistance to radical equality, right? Racial equality. It says continued support for white supremacy and racial heresy. It says meant the slavery in America did not end and involved, all right, the identities of many white Americans, especially Israelites. These are Edomites, man. All right, they're not white, they're Edomites, okay, and we're Hebrew Israelites, okay. It says the identities of many white Americans, especially in the South, were grounded by the belief that they were inherently superior to African Americans. See, they think that they're superior to African, but hold on. What does the Lord say? What does the Lord say that we are? Okay, let's go to Deuteronomy, the 7th chapter. Let's cut that right now. Let's go to Deuteronomy, the 7th chapter. And what does the Lord say that we are? Deuteronomy, the 7th chapter, and the 6th verse. It says, for thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy power. The Lord thy power have chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. All right? Let's go to Deuteronomy, the 14th chapter. You want to get more of it? Let's go here. Deuteronomy, the 14th chapter, and the Lord reiterated it again. The 14th chapter, and right here, the 2nd verse, it says, for thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy power. The Lord hath chosen thee to be a peculiar people unto himself above all the nations that are upon the face of the earth. And what is Esau? Esau is nothing. Esau, you are nothing. Okay? All right? You are nothing. You're not superior over us. Okay? All right? The reason why you have us in this captivity is because the Lord done it. The Lord put us in this captivity. All right? And he's going to bring us up out of this captivity. All right? It says many white people reacted violently to the requirement to treat their former human property as equals and pay for their labor. It says in the first 2 years after the war, thousands of black people were murdered for assessing freedom and basic rights. Cities like Memphis and New Orleans were sites of violence, mob attacks, and black communities. All right, prime example. Okay, those are prime examples. It says between 1868 and 1871, a wave of terror swept across the South, resulting in the deaths of thousands of African Americans, some killed merely for failing to obey a white person's constitutional efforts to provide federal protection and civil rights, and formerly enslaved black people were undered by the United States Supreme Court's rulings in cases like the Slaughterhouse case, 83 U.S. 36. It says United States Reese 92 U.S. 214, 1875 United States versus Krustank 92 U.S. 542. It says soon northern politicians, all right, It says retreated from a committed, from a committed to protect black people, and the Reconstruction collapsed. In 1877, federal troops were removed from the region, and white Southerners used their regained power to bar black people from voting. All right, it says legalize racial segregation. Well, the Lord is with segregation, man. The Lord is with segregation. Okay, you see. So the Lord, hey, listen, man. Let's go to Deuteronomy the 32nd chapter, and the 8th verse, and we'll show you that the Lord is with segregation. Okay, we'll show you that the Lord is with segregation. 32 and 8 says, when the Most High divided the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. For the Lord's portion is his people, talking about us, Israel. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. He found him in the desert land and in the waste hallowing wilderness, and he led him about, and he instructed him, and he kept him as an apple of his eye. So guess what you devils did? You touched the apple of the Most High's eye, which is us. Okay, because we are Jacob. All right? We're Yaquab. All right? You Esau. Okay? Okay? All right? It says to create an explicit economic system of sharecropping and tented farming that would keep African Americans indentured and poor for the generations. It says convicted leasing and horrific systems in which black people are convicted of crimes under discrimination black code laws, all right, which we all know about that. I got those laws written down. Okay, black code laws, and then leased to private businesses to labor under inhuman conditions, and state profit created a new kind of bondage some scholars have described as worse than slavery, the new Jim Crow laws, man. Okay, it says at the same time, Jim Crow and racial integrity laws, all right, prohibited social interactions between people in different races, especially black men and white women. Lynching soon emerged as a primary tool to enforce racial and oppression, while terrorizing black people into accepting abusive mistreatment and subordination. All right, subordination, Salakia. All right, federal, state, and local governments largely tolerated these terrorist acts. All right, see, there's a whole lot here, brothers. Okay, there's a whole lot. So if I was to continue to keep on reading, man, this video would be extremely long. She wrote a whole lot here. So, if you want to go check out the video or check out this article, you can go and check out this article. All right, because it explains a whole lot, man. I'll probably just read a little bit more, and then I'll just, let it go from there. And then I'll just go into some scriptures. All right, so let's read a little bit more. And then I'm just going to go into the rest of the scriptures. See where we're at. Yeah, there's so much here. Let's just read this. Often committed in broad daylight and sometimes on the courthouse lawn, and racial terror lynchings were directly tied to the history of enslavement and reestablishment of white supremacy after the Civil War. These lynchings were also from hangings and mob violence committed, all right, against white people, because they were intended to terrorize entire black communities and enforce racial heredity. All right. Okay. It says, unlike four-tier justice in the West, racial terror lynchings generally took place in communities, all right, and criminal courts, all right, functioning in criminal courts, viewed as too good for the African Americans, despite its lawlessness and terrifying, unpredictably. Lynchings was sanctioned by law enforcement and elected officials. Hey, man, you know what? I'm not even going to read no more, man. Right? It says members of the mob frequently documented their atrocities uh, by posing for photographs with blooded or burnt corpses. See that, man? Okay, let's just go into the scriptures, man. Let's go and get some more scriptures. Brothers can read that article if you want to. I just wanted to bring some of that article out, but you brothers can read that article if you want and go into that. And let's just go here into Lamentations. Lamentations, the first chapter. And let's go into about the first verse. It says, "How doeth the city set solitary that was full of people? And how is she become as a widow?" Talking about Israel. It says, she that was great among the nations and princes among the provinces, how is she become tributary? Okay? She weeping sore in the night, and her tears are, well, now, when Israel or Jerusalem is a people before a place. So this is talking about the people. It says she's weeping sore in the night, and her, because we were considered as a woman to the Most High. Tears are on her cheeks. Among all her lovers, she have none to comfort her. All her friends have dealt treacherously with her, and they are become her enemies. It says Judah is gone into captivity because of affliction and because of great servitude. She is dwelling among the heathen, and she has found no rest. All her persecutors overtake her between the straits. Okay? You see? All right. It says the ways of Zion do mourn because none come to the Solomon feast. All her gates are desolate, and her priests sigh, and her virgins are afflicted, and she is in bitterness. Her adversaries, right? It says her adversaries are the chief. Her enemies prosper. For the Lord have afflicted her for the multitude of her transgressions, and her children are gone into captivity before the enemy. Okay? You see? It says, and from the daughter of Zion and all her beauty is departed, right? And there you have it. All of our beauty has departed. We lost our heritage. We lost our power. The power of the Lord took the name away from us and things like that. All right? In this captivity. Okay? It says, her princes are become like harts, and they found no pasture, right? And they are gone without strength before the pursuer. Okay, Jerusalem remembered in the days of her affliction and of her miseries all her pleasant things that she had in the days of old, when her people fell into the hand of the enemy, and none did help her. The adversary saw her and did mock at her Sabbaths. All right. Okay. It says Jerusalem, right, which is the people before a place, have grievously sinned, and therefore she is removed. All that honored her despise her, because they have seen her nakedness. Yea, she is sighed and turned backward. Okay. Okay, it says her filthiness is in her skirts, and remembered not her last end. Therefore she came down wonderfully, and she had no comforter. O Lord, behold my affliction, for the enemy have magnified himself. Says the adversary have spread out his hand upon her pleasant things, and she have seen the heathen entered into the sanctuary, whom thou didst command that thou shouldest not enter into the congregation. Okay, so there you have it right there. So now let's go into the book of Baruch. All right, that should end it off for here. I want to go into the book of Baruch. Baruch, the 3rd chapter. Actually, let's go into the 2nd chapter. The 2nd chapter, and let's start at the 1st verse. It says, therefore the Lord hath made good his word which he pronounced against us, and against our judges, and that judged Israel, and against our kings, and against our princes, and against the men of Israel and Judah, to bring upon the great plagues such as never happened under the whole heaven, as it came to pass in Jerusalem, according to the things that were written in the law of Moses, that a man should eat the flesh of his own, and the flesh of his own daughter. Okay? It says, moreover, he hath delivered them to be in subjection to all the kingdoms that was round about us, and to be a reproach and desolation among all the people round about, where the Lord hath scattered them. Right? So the scriptures are twofold, man. You know, you when you understand it, the scriptures are twofold. Everything that happened then happened again. All right? You see what I'm saying? And they were cast down and not exalted, because we have sinned against the Lord our power and have not been obedient unto his voice. All right? Okay? It says, to the Lord our power apprehendeth righteousness, but unto us and our fathers open shame, and appeareth this day, for all these plagues are come upon us, which the Lord hath pronounced against us. Okay? See? So now let's go into the book of Baruch, the 3rd chapter. The 3rd chapter and the 8th verse. It says, behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments according to the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Lord our power. All right? You see? It says, hear, Israel, the commandments of life, give ear to the understanding wisdom. How happeneth, Israel, that thou art in the enemy's land, and that thou art waxen old in a strange country, that thou art defiled with the dead. All right? See? Okay? So, right there, I'm just going to end it right there. I'm going to give all praises. That's why we got to come back to these law, statutes, and commandments, man. Okay? That's why we got to come back to the law, statutes, and commandments. See, the Lord did all these things to us, man. You see, the Lord did these things to us. Okay? So I'm just going to end it right there. I want to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Arakah, Quadash, and double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone of Ruel. Peace and blessings and citation to the hopeful elect, the Bayath, Dawadah, the house of David. Shalom, brothers. Stay strong. Abba Ball.